Hello, my name is Dr. Jesse Santiano. I own and write all the articles on this website. I'm adding a video format on drjessesantiano.com, and this will be the first. In this video, I will explain what I believe is the best way to avoid the complications of spike proteins, namely premature deaths, cancer, heart attacks, strokes, autoimmunity, to name a few. To do so, I will discuss the conditions necessary in the human body for the spike protein complications to develop. Correcting those underlying conditions can decrease your risk of dying not only from the spike proteins, but also from the most common causes of deaths. The most commonly read articles on my website nowadays are about removing the spike proteins from the body. Those articles about spike protein are NAC and bromelain, nattokinase, how to dose them, and also intermittent fasting. The good news about taking NAC, bromelain, and nattokinase is that they can also take care of cardiovascular risk, like preventing blood clotting, decreasing free radicals, protecting the arterial wall, and lowering the blood sugar. However, even the unvaccinated may not be free from the effects of the spike protein. Studies have shown that a SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19 infection can implant the spike protein in the body, especially in severe cases. But there's more than just the spike protein that's needed for complications to happen. An ideal condition should exist for the spike protein to announce itself. At the beginning of the pandemic, the phrase high risk was consistently applied to those with diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, obesity, and the older age group. Those deadly diseases have something in common. They all have metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome exists if you have three of the following five: hypertension, high blood sugar, high blood triglycerides, low HDL, and obesity. So let's go to the details. If you're a Western man and your waistline is more than 101 centimeters or 40 inches, then that's too much. If you're an Asian man, if it's more than 90 centimeters or 35 inches, that is the cutoff. For Western women, it is 89 centimeters or 35 inches. And for Asian women, it should be less than 80 centimeters or 31 inches. For the blood pressure, if it's more than 130/85, then you're considered hypertensive, or if you're undergoing treatment for hypertension. About fasting triglycerides, if it's over 150 milligrams per deciliter, or if you're getting treatment for high triglyceride, then you satisfy one of the criteria. Fasting triglyceride is commonly seen in a lipid profile or lipid profile. If your fasting high density lipoprotein is less than 40 milligrams if you're a man, or less than 50 milligrams in women, or if you're getting treatment, then that is another criteria. And if your fasting blood sugar is over 100 milligrams per deciliter, or if you're getting treatment for type 2 diabetes, then that's also a criteria. So if you have three of the following five, then you have metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome induces a state of chronic inflammation inside the body because of the large amount of free radicals and pro-inflammatory cytokines floating around. Chronic inflammation is deadly. What you're seeing on the graph here is the top 10 causes of death back in 2020 and 2021. So I'll name them. So heart disease includes heart attacks, arrhythmia, congestive heart failure, cancer of all causes, COVID-19, unintentional injuries, stroke, chronic lower respiratory diseases like COPD and emphysema, Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, chronic liver disease and cirrhosis, and kidney disease, Now, let's look at chronic liver disease or cirrhosis. What's the most common cause? Alcohol, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is what you see in people who are overweight, who are obese, or those who have metabolic syndrome. Now, for chronic kidney diseases, the most common causes are diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease or heart failure, and obesity. So what does that mean? What it means is that the top 10 causes of deaths in the US and also maybe in the whole world, because this is almost the same in the rest of the world, just that they're in different order. For the top 10 causes of death, 9 out of 10 is related to metabolic syndrome, which has chronic inflammation. So anything that will put you at risk for dying of COVID-19 or the spike protein also puts you at risk for dying of the 9 other causes of death. Going back to the spike protein, it is a foreign body that the body can remove by autophagy. And based on studies, bromelain in combination with NAC and nattokinase separately can do the same, meaning degrade the spike protein. If not removed, the spike protein or its fragments can elicit an inflammatory response. Inflammation is not bad. We need it to fight infections and to repair the body. However, if there's an underlying chronic inflammation, which means lots of free radicals, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, and atherosclerosis, that small inflammation will turn into a big fire, similar to putting a lighted match to gasoline. On the other hand, if you apply a lighted match on wet wood, no fire will start, at least not right away, and your body will have ample time to get rid of or take care of that spike protein. So don't have chronic inflammation. If I want to lower my risk of dying early or developing spike protein problems, I don't want chronic inflammation. In addition to taking whatever medications I prescribe, I will fast, watch my blood sugar, and exercise. I will lose weight if I'm overweight, lower my blood pressure, increase my HDL by exercising, and monitor my blood sugar even if I'm not diabetic with proper diet and exercise. So what I want you to know is that if you control your blood sugar, not only will your fasting blood sugar go down, but also your waist circumference will go down, your blood pressure will decrease, and your fasting triglyceride will also go down. And that's because they're all interrelated. Now, HDL will increase if you exercise. Checking the 1 hour after meal or postprandial blood sugar is recommended even if you do not have type 2 or adult onset diabetes. Many do not know that they are pre-diabetic. It will help you if you understand that pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes are prone to developing atherosclerosis and cardiovascular disease. And those who have pre-diabetes can develop diabetes later in life if they do not control their blood sugar. So this is a nice graph or drawing of the natural history of type 2 diabetes from Ramlo Halstead from 1999. It was published in Primary Care. Now, this is over here is pre-diabetes. This is type 2 diabetes. The years from diagnosis is 0. It's like 0 is the time that a person is first diagnosed. And then this is after the diagnosis. And then the negative numbers, -10, -5, are the years before the diagnosis. So what you can see here is that even before the diagnosis at year 0, a person will already develop cardiovascular and microvascular complications if they have pre-diabetes. That's why it's important to know whether you have pre-diabetes or not. And if you know that, make sure you get that taken care of. I have written a lot of articles about the 1 hour after meal blood sugar and also the 2 hour after meal blood sugar. Between the two, the 1 hour is more important. Now, what's the standard? The target is a blood sugar of under 155 milligrams per deciliter or 8.6 millimoles per liter for the 1 hour and 140 milligrams per deciliter or 7.8 millimoles per liter at 2 hours. That is for both men and women. And here is the article I wrote on how you can control that 1 hour blood sugar. I will list all of the articles that I have in this presentation below. So if the fasting blood sugar is a criterion for metabolic syndrome, why am I focusing on the 1 hour blood sugar? Well, that's because several studies have shown that the 1 hour after meal or postprandial blood sugar is a better predictor for determining the future risk of type 2 diabetes and several other conditions. Much better than the 2 hour after meal blood sugar, the hemoglobin A1C, and the fasting blood sugar. You can find the studies in this article. The high 1 hour after meal blood sugar test can lead to several deadly conditions, and it is linked below. And if you are wondering why there is not much emphasis in mainstream medicine on the after meal blood sugar, it is because it takes several years before research findings gets translated into clinical application. Another way to get rid of the spike proteins is to do intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting, you can fast for 16 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours, or 44 hours, depending on what you can handle. So when we do intermittent fasting, what it does is that it stimulates autophagy. Autophagy is when the old cells, pre-infected cells, precancerous cells, damaged cells are broken down and recycled to make new amino acids. Now, other than fasting, exercise can also do autophagy or stimulate autophagy, and so does coffee. Can you still have spike protein complications without any of the above mentioned conditions like high blood sugar, high blood pressure, obesity, being overweight? The answer is yes, in my personal opinion. There may be other things that we don't know about the spike protein. So in conclusion, if someone lowers their blood sugar and blood pressure, loses excess weight, and exercise, they can lower their chances of dying prematurely not only from the spike protein complications, but also from the most common causes of death. In parting, I want to extend my deep gratitude to everyone who bought me coffee. Any support will be greatly appreciated. You have a great day and don't get sick.